Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai whakarongo mai ki The Shelf. He punua pāho mai i ngā whare pukapuka I Whangarei I Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. E pahure koutou I ngā hōtaka me o hautu ki ngā whare pukapuka I YouTube. Hello everyone, welcome back to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM and streaming online at beagleradio.co.nz. To catch up on episodes you might have missed, subscribe to the Whangarei District Libraries YouTube channel. Kia ora, my name is LJ. I'm one of the cataloguing services librarians at Whangarei District Libraries, and I am here with
Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hello.
It's been a while.
Yes, I'm kia ora. So I'm an outreach services librarian. I work in events, bringing more customers to the library and just extending our services to the public. Also, I curate the DVD collection.
Yes, a fantastic job you do.
And on The Shelf, we are librarians in Whangarei, New Zealand, who discuss literature, community, and culture. And we are not just advocating for Whangarei District Libraries, but libraries worldwide.
Absolutely. And today we'll start on a little bit of a somber note with a tribute to poet Andrea Gibson. If you're not familiar with their work, we have quite a few of their books in the library. So they were the Poet Laureate of Colorado, world touring spoken word artist, author of 7 books, and they were the subject of the award-winning documentary Come See Me in the Good Light, and more. So they passed on Monday, 49 years old, from ovarian cancer. And there's a quote that was posted by their loved ones that says, whenever I leave this world, whether it's 60 years from now, I wouldn't want anyone to say I lost some battle. I'll be a winner that day. Andrea Gibson. And they've just posted that Andrea Gibson was a winner today on July 14th at 4:16 a.m. Andrea Gibson died in their home, surrounded by their wife Meg, 4 ex-girlfriends, their mother and father, dozens of friends, and their 3 beloved dogs. So I'm just going to read a poem from, we've got a few of their books, so You Better Be Lightning is the one I'm going to read from, that was published in 2023, I believe. But yeah, we have a few others, and I've read in the past, I think we did a poetry episode, Carly and I maybe, and I know that I read a reading then from Lord of the Butterflies, which is another one of their poetry books. So I'll go ahead and read this, and yeah. So the title of this poem is Every Time I Ever Said I Want to Die. I meant I am willing to do anything to live, even leave this world forever, even build a new home atop a nebula, stick a straw into a buried lake on Mars, get tipsy on anti-gravity, and invent new constellations, walking the lines between undiscovered stars. When God pulls me over and asks, can you touch your nose, I could say, what nose? I'd be bodiless, a shadow in reverse, a patch of light made by the darkness I escaped. The psychology manuals say no one really wants to die, they want relief. They believe they will never find it in this world. That belief could be right or wrong. One would have to stay to find out. Friend, if you stay, at least we will be together, and I have an extra straw. I could show you where the lakes on this planet are buried, how you do not need light years to reach them. The dark years work too. Sometimes better, sometimes grief is the fastest route to truth. In addition to the straw, I also have a slingshot that fires rock bottoms directly at the sun until change spills from its golden pockets. That's how I got my hands on this summer afternoon. We can do anything with it. Sunbathe or scream or forgive ourselves everything, most especially the thread we could not convince to close our wounds. If your wounds are still open, trust they are doors to an answer and walk through. What if we don't have to be healed to be whole? There are holes in every inch of the fabric that makes me who I am. But pull the string on my back and I'll say I love you and mean it whenever you want. Come flood my home with your eyes. I read that people scream when they are in pain because screaming actually lessens the pain. Anyone who asks you to hold your tongue is asking you to hold the heaviest thing in the galaxy. Forget them and remember you can tell me anything about how hard it is to stop flirting with your expiration date. I understand being wooed by the finish line of sadness. Infinity still sends me nudes every day. I won't deny she looks amazing. But I'm taken. My hand now promised to writing every page of my story except its end. Friend, you are who taught me that a difficult life is not less worth living than a gentle one. Joy is just easier to carry than sorrow, and you could lift a city. From how long you've spent holding what's been nearly impossible to hold. This world needs those who know how to do that. Those who can find a tunnel with no light at the end of it and hold it up like a telescope, to show that the darkness contains many truths that can bring the light to its knees. Grief astronomer, adjust the lens, look close, tell us what you see. Yeah, so they're one of my favorite poets. Yeah, so I just wanted to read that in tribute. And yeah, like I said, that was from You Better Be Lightning, but we also have Lord of the Butterflies and another of their books. But if you search Andrea Gibson in the catalogue, you'll find their work. So yes, we've lost a literary great, in my humble opinion.
It's very sad.
Yeah, yeah. But onto lighter, perhaps lighter. I don't know what you've been reading, so it might not.
I'm shaking my head.
It might not be a lighter topic, but we're going to talk about what have you been reading, Andy?
Well, it sounds lighthearted, but it's not. The book I'm reading is I found it in the fantasy section on the shelf. Never heard of it, never seen it before. The book is called Lost Boy by Christina Henry, and it's got the fantasy sticker on it. So we'll just look at the cover of this book, and I see a few signs of what it could be about. It's got a hook, as in a pirate hook, and a boy who looks a lot like Peter Pan. This is a retelling of the Peter Pan story, and it is not cheery. It is a very grim novel. When you think about the Peter Pan stories, there's actually something fundamentally messed up about boys who go to Neverland and they're potentially there for hundreds of years and cannot remember their families or anything from home. And that's what the lost boy in this story is. He is a friend of Peter Pan's, and everybody just follows along with everything Peter says. And he is, Peter is really, to me, a very typical 12-year-old boy. He really thinks about himself quite a lot. And the main story is following a kid named Jamie, who is an expert swordsman and not a man, but sword fighter.
Swords boy.
And he's with the Lost Boys, and they're going to fight some pirates. The problem is it's more like Lord of the Flies than a Disney film.
Yes. Well, I mean, a lot of those sort of, I mean, I know that's a retelling, but a lot of those sorts of stories, the original versions are quite dark, and then they get Disney-fied. I don't know too much about the origins of Peter Pan, but
I actually don't either.
Certainly for other ones like, you know, The Little Mermaid and
Sure.
those kind of originals were quite dark.
This author wrote a book called Mermaid, and I see the first page of the book, also available from Christina Henry, Alice, Red Queen, and His Mermaid. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Little Alice in Wonderland and The Little Mermaid.
So retellings may be her thing.
Yeah. Admittedly, I never read Peter Pan, but I think the world that it was written in, early 20th century, late 19th century, was not as cozy as we would hope. So that's what I am reading.
Are you enjoying it?
It's okay.
Okay.
I think
We'll see how it goes.
on page 80, it hasn't quite got going yet. But in time, I'm intrigued, and I haven't stopped.
Yes. Well, there's that.
And how about you?
I have been reading. It's a little different for me. It's A Will and a Way on Foot Across France by Jennifer Andrews. There's a little bit of backstory on this one. Avid regular listeners, which I know that there's a few out there now, which is a bit exciting. But so regular listeners may have noticed that I've been a little bit absent from the last few shelves. So sadly, my grandma passed about a month ago from terminal cancer, but she really wanted to read this book, and it was one I had requested in the hopes that I would read it to her, and it arrived just a little too late, but I decided that I'd read it anyway. And it's Jennifer Andrews is a New Zealand author, and she is a walker, and so basically the book that she's written is about how she's diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's, and kind of told life is short, or not kind of, but it's told life is short, and if there's something she wants to do, don't wait. And so she decides to set off on a 1,800 kilometer pilgrimage across France, as you do, walking to ancient routes. So through the Pyrenees and somewhere else, but Camino, the Camino walk, which I might be butchering that, but so it's sort of told in like a diary format, like it goes sort of day one and like it goes through each day, but I guess it's not a typical read for me, but I am enjoying it. My grandma loved France. She learnt French in her 60s so that she could go to France. She even did a cooking class fully the woman was teaching in French. And she also really always loved stories of people that overcame great odds. So like I say, even though it's not something that I maybe would usually pick up, I'm enjoying it. Just because it gives me those nice memories. So that's, it's got quite a few holds on it, but I think it's going to be a popular one, but pop a hold on it if you're interested, because we could get some more copies. She's walking in France, but she is a New Zealander. So that's A Will and a Way on Foot Across France by Jennifer Andrews. Yeah.
Okay.
Got a song?
I do, and it's related to the book that I have chosen. This is called Lost Boys by Still Corners.
Very. Alrighty. You're listening to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. That song was Lost Boys by Still Corners. How was your weekend, Andy?
My weekend was very, very cool. I was working on Saturday.
Me too.
Yes, you were. I saw you. Yeah. We went to an event at Forum North in Whangarei, and it's called the Sandbox Festival. Mm-hmm. And we decided to wear costumes, as a lot of the people at this at this convention do. How would you describe Sandbox? Let's back up.
Okay, so it's good question. It's a fandom festival for all things like cosplay. There's Dungeons and Dragons there, comics, graphic novels. I guess everything that would be thought of as quote unquote nerd culture. Yes. I've been before. I went to the first iteration in 2020. What was last year? 2024, 2023, and then last year I worked it that was the first time we went as had a library stall. Yeah. And took the mobile bus. It's the longest drive ever. Not. It's just from the back of the Whangarei Central Library to Forum North, which is right next to each other. And we went again this year, and it's been really neat to just watch it expand, and it's just engaging with people around the library as well in a different way. I mean, obviously there's tons of other stuff that's happening there as well.
Yeah.
People are selling their wares, and like I say, there's cosplay competitions and fairy house making and Dungeons and Dragons, and I think there were some other rooms that I didn't get a chance to go into this year, with a lot of other things happening. But yeah, as a library, we participate. Milani, our teen librarian, who we've had on the show before, she sort of heads the charge on that one, and yeah, we usually do a craft. So both years we've done that we've been as a library, we've done the wand making and badge making, which we do at a lot of events. It's always a big hit, but we usually take old comics to Sandbox to make badges with.
Yeah, that's become kind of my specialty.
Yeah, me too. If I do it
you do it a few hundred times.
Yeah.
The kids adore the badges.
Yeah, I think everybody does. So it seems to transcend ages. I know I definitely had people this year and last year, very shyly asking if they could, adults, no, it's a kids thing. And we were like, there's no, do you see any age limit signs? There's no age limit signs. Anybody and everybody, it's really fun. But yeah, so it's quite neat. Like I had I had a couple of families making badges out of an old Simpsons comic.
Yeah,
and
that was
I was
popular.
Really amazed at how the Simpsons seems to have, a bit of a tangent, but seems to have transcended the generations, because I would say their parents are probably older than me, and then the kids were obviously much younger than me. But it was a big thing in my generation and Andy's generation.
Yes. Oh,
We're kind of similar in age. And yeah, so it just seems to have been, and I know even a friend of mine, her teenagers love it as well. So that was quite neat, so mum, dad, kids all have Simpsons badges at the end of it.
I loved that show when I was a kid, but the badge making and the events were part of it. It was largely it was a festival where people wear a lot of costumes, some really creative ones. I saw Mary Poppins and the Dick Van Dyke character. I think his name is Bert.
Yeah.
I saw them. I saw Zelda. I saw LJ dressed as Velma.
Yes, Jinkies.
And I was Wally.
Yeah.
Or if you're American, Waldo.
Yeah.
I heard the joke, I found you, about,
I was just going to ask.
About 200 times.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Well, Leanne went
it was fun.
As Wally last year. So before we came back on air, Andy and I were saying how we should make it a library tradition that somebody at Sandboxes from the library is always dressed up. I've just found the little blurb, the official blurb on Sandbox. So Sandbox is a community-run event, a space for Tetai Tokoro's community to meet and share our mutual love for everything geek, a celebration of wonderful art, games, cosplay, animation, comics, music, tech, and more. Play games, show off your cosplay, enter competitions, check out the Artist Alley, enjoy performances, and come together to revel in all things pop culture and beyond. And our friend of the pod and the library, Verena, who you've probably heard, you will have heard on the show many times before, and the various hats that she wears, she's quite involved in the organisation of Sandbox as well. So shout out, Verena.
Yeah, thank you, Verena.
On that one. So it's just been really amazing, I think, to see it grow every year. I think, not quite sure the first year, like I say, I just went as a person. It was smaller the first year. I just went as a member of the public. But the last year, and I believe this year as well, there's well over 1,000 people come through the door. So it's really neat to have things like this in Whangarei and to see them popular and growing, and then also being able to support these things in our capacity at the library.
It definitely is a celebration of just being yourself. If you are interested in board games, card games, comic books, fantasy and science fiction characters, cosplay, medieval sword fighting even, then it is really a place where you can just be you.
Yeah.
And I get to be Wally.
Yeah. Hey, I always enjoy dressing up as well. Any excuse for a costume is fun. So in that vein, we were going to have a couple of comic or graphic novel or manga recommendations. What's your recommendation?
I recommend a book that I also just stumbled upon in our collection. I found it on the shelf and I never heard of it.
It's a workplace hazard.
I've got a big reading list. I keep seeing things.
Yeah.
This graphic novel is called Dharma Punks, and it's by Anthony Sang, or maybe that's pronounced Sang. And he is a New Zealand author also. So that's why I think it's important to mention him. Dharma Punks is, I think, a reference to the book Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac.
Right. But
if Anthony Song, if you're listening and that is incorrect, please drop us an email.
Write to us,
we would love to hear from you. But the book follows a young punk rocker who's with a group of his friends, and they have a plan to burn down a department store. And, well, obviously nothing goes as planned. They find themselves facing down a group of Nazi skinheads. And our humble narrator, I've forgotten his name actually, he falls in love with this mysterious goth girl. So it's a graphic novel you can read in a couple of days. It's very indie counterculture, and I enjoyed reading it very much.
Oh, I think I recognise that cover. Oh, yeah. Set in Auckland, New Zealand, 1994. Oh. Chopstick is the main character. Yeah. So Chopstick's journey is a meditation on life, love, friendship, and blowing things up in graphic novel format, according to our catalogue.
It is it's a very philosophical story. He's ruminating on his what he believes in, what he really believes in.
Cool. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Dharma Punks.
Yeah. And then I've got one that I just read recently, and this has never happened to me before, so I've never read like a comic right at the beginning of, like when it's just getting started. So now it ended on a cliffhanger, and I have to wait till November for volume 2 to be published, which I got to the end and I was like, oh no. And then I immediately looked up when's volume 2 coming out, and I was like, not till November. So but it's called Minor Arcana. It's volume 1, the full, by Jeff Lemire. I didn't look up how to say his name, but it's that the blurb is: when Teresa's mum, a phony small-town psychic, falls ill, Teresa has to return home to take care of her, but she soon discovers that everyone in town is mysteriously connected to the tarot, and that she may actually have real psychic abilities. Now it's up to her to reconcile with her ailing mother, confront the failures of her past, and help the townsfolk she'd spent her entire life running from. So it had a lot of interesting themes. But yeah, like I say, I've never got in on something right at the beginning before, so I'm used to being able to just binge all the comics in the series, and I haven't been able to. My other recommendation, I'm sure I've talked about before, but if you haven't read the Lumberjanes comics, you totally should. We used to only have the first few, but our teen collection librarian has rectified that, and we now have all 20 volumes. So yeah, if you like fun and friendship, you should check out the Lumberjanes ones. And on that note, comics and graphic novels. Yes,
we revisit this topic often because we have a lot of comics and graphic novels in our collection, and Well, frankly, I think some of them really are like looking at art books, but with a story.
Yeah, that's a really nice way of putting it. And I think as well it is one of those genres that, well, it's not really a genre, but one of those formats. Yeah, yes. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. That, kind of it gets written off. So this just a little recap of Milani's interview that we did, that Andy did with Milani on episode 17 of the show. But I had a little re-listen, and a couple of the key points were the differences between comics and graphic novels. That's always a big one. So comics are serializations that come out that are a continuation of a longer story. You know, think of your superheroes like your Batman. I know that Andy's a Batman fan.
Yep.
And there's like origin stories and possibly different iterations and parallel universes, things like that. Like their smaller stories come out more frequently, and they're part of an overarching universe or storyline, whereas graphic novels tend to be longer stories and are usually wrapped up within a couple of books or one or two books. And another thing that I thought that was really interesting that Milani mentioned was Alan Dingley, who was the reading ambassador for one of the reading ambassadors for New Zealand between 2023 and 2025. He had said that in a graphic novel you can get 56 complex words per 100 versus typically you get 38 complex words per 100 in a standard children's book. So actually, you're more likely to be coming across those more complex words. But while I was in this rabbit hole, I stumbled across a recent article by Tracy Greenwood that was written for the June 2025 issue of Leanne's Library Life magazine, and she is the senior specialist developing readers in the Services to School reading team for the National Library of New Zealand. And so, I read the article, and I do recommend looking it up if you're interested in this topic and reading the full thing, but there was a couple of key takeaways. So the name of the article is Graphic Novels Valuing Their Role in Reading Journeys. And a couple of things that she mentioned that I thought were interesting was that teachers and library staff often comment on how graphic novels act as stepping stones between picture books and early chapter books to more challenging reads, like bridging that, and that graphic novels are great for building readers' confidence due to the mixture of pictures and text. But another thing that I'd never thought of before that she mentioned was they're also a great way to introduce students to complex narratives and concepts. And the example that she used was a book called Bomb, The Race to Build and Steal the World's Most Dangerous Weapon by Steve Sheinkin and Nick Bertozzi. I should have looked up names.
Those look correct. Yeah.
Very sorry to Steve and Nick if they're not. But it tells the story of the atomic bomb's development through science and wartime history. And so, basically the perspective is for students who might find the topic difficult in a textbook format, this version offers a way in, like, again, that stepping stone thing. And she also mentioned about how it's not about choosing one or the other. I believe we talked about that in the past, where there's, you often overhear parents or well-meaning grandparents or, saying you can't have any graphic novels. You have to pick a real book.
Yeah, we've heard it on the job.
Yeah.
And it's disheartening because I think it's incorrect.
Yeah, and so she was saying is that it's not about choosing one or the other. One is not good or one is not bad. But while graphic novels, of course, shouldn't be the only type of book that children are reading, they're an important part of like a wider reading journey. So the full article, if you're interested, is available to read on the National Library website if you search graphic novels valuing their role in reading journeys. And I can also ask Carly if she could put a little link in our description when we put this up on YouTube as well. But it's by Tracy Greenwood. And to wrap up the segment, have you noticed some new labels in the library lately, Andy?
Yes, I have it. And it looks like there's now a distinction between manga, superhero, and graphic novels. Is that correct?
Yeah, so teen comic, superhero, graphic novel, and manga. So manga is still a work in progress. Graphic novels and the comics and superheroes. So we've separated out the superheroes, even though they're obviously not their own format, just because some people, well, a lot of people are interested in superheroes, but there's just a bit more of a distinction. It all used to fall under the umbrella of teen comic, and that could be confusing at times, not just for customers, but for us as staff as well. When you're trying to find something, unless, I found it a little easier because it is an area I like to read in. But even then, sometimes I'd think, where am I going? So, it's been part of a larger project the technical services team has been undertaking. That hasn't, I haven't been helping with that too much. I've been working on our different project with the fiction collection as well as my normal stuff. But a couple of my other team members and Milani, our teen librarian, have been chipping away at that project for a while now. So hopefully we'd like to get it completed this year. But you will notice those changes on the catalogue, and if you've been into the library lately, you've probably noticed them as well. So hopefully that will make things just a little bit clearer for everybody, the staff and library users alike. That's the hope, for our library users to be able to find what they're looking for.
Definitely, and we've got a massive range of graphic novels, comics, manga. Remember, we have said it's a format, so this is not just sci-fi and fantasy. It covers the whole range of topics, and
adult
even
ones too.
Non-fiction as well.
I was just talking about teen in that moment, but there's also our adult graphic novels as well, which you do find. They do live next to the fantasy and sci-fi at the Whangarei Central Library, although you can request to any branch, and you also might find a few mixed in with the fiction in the branch libraries as well. But definitely a big range. So if you're interested, or if you just didn't know, now you know, and you can spread the word. Yeah,
check it out.
Cool. So we'll go into a song, I think.
Yes. How do you say this?
Oubliette. It's from the album The Black Labyrinth by Aurelio Voltaire, and it was written as a tribute to Bowie. So it's sort of like a musical sequel to the album as a whole, a musical sequel to Labyrinth, the movie, if you will. But I'd advise checking out the whole album. But this is just one song off it.
Okay.
Oubliette.
I'll fire it up. And welcome back to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries. You are listening to Beagle Radio 88.1 FM and online at beagleradio.co.nz. If you want to get in contact with the station manager, please email info@beagleradio.co.nz. Well, we are back.
We're back.
So I want us to revisit an older segment that we haven't done for a little while. It's called Roasting the Classics.
An old favorite.
It is a favorite of ours because it's just plain fun. In this segment, Roasting the Classics, we revisit classic works of literature. We may have read these books in school, or we feel that they are culturally relevant. And by doing this, we read one-star reviews from Goodreads as a way to understand different points of view of these works and have a little fun. Today, we chose to read reviews for William Golding's 1954 novel, Lord of the Flies. I referenced the book earlier, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Lord of the Flies is about a group of English boys who find themselves stranded on an uninhabited island. They attempt to form a civilized society, but it all goes wrong because children are essentially feral. Here's a summary from a 1-star review on Goodreads. A plane full of British schoolboys crash lands on a deserted island with no adults. In the beginning, they try to be civilized and concentrate on being rescued. It didn't teach you anything. Honest to God, it was just the stupidest thing I've ever read. The only thing it told you was that a group of boys on a deserted island with no adults equals bad things will happen to you, and they'll just start killing each other.
Woohoo!
All right, so as in the book, I'm going to pass the talking conch over to LJ.
Okay, thank you,
What's
Andy.
the first review?
I hated this book. That's it. That's the review.
Yeah, right to the point. Here's mine. Libertarian gerontophobic experiment goes awry when Satan takes over island paradise. Protagonists summon Deus Ex Machina with cutting-edge cellular conch shell.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we need a translation for that.
Yeah.
But it's true. I agree with that.
I really, really hate this book. It is so disturbing. Why do we make children read this? Ugh.
Children of a certain age can read it. I was 16 when I had to read it.
I was going to say, I feel like some teenage classes at my high school read it. We didn't, though. We read Z for Zachariah, which I equally hated.
Oh, okay. Here's another one. The overlying illustration of how easily man can devolve back into his feral instincts is striking, yet could have been infinitesimally more effective in the hands of a decent writer. See, I would have cared a bit more about the little island society of prepubescent boys and their descent into barbarism if any of these characters had been developed at all. Instead, we're thrown interchangeable names of interchangeable boys who are only developed enough to conform to the basic archetypes Golding requires to hobble his little story along. The leader, the rebel, the fat kid, the nose picker. Were he born in this time, I believe Golding would have done brilliantly as a scriptwriter for reality TV. You see, when he said the leader, the rebel, the fat kid, I thought the Goonies.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
I just remember having absolutely nothing in common with the characters. A group of English upper middle class schoolboys, whereas I was a Scottish working class girl. I just could not relate to the story at all and just wished they would all kill each other as soon as possible so the book would finish.
I mean, I wasn't a Scottish schoolgirl, but I also wasn't an English schoolboy. I still could relate. The book also reminds me of that computer game, The Sims, where the player indulges his sadistic impulses and creates the most evil characters possible, then sets them against each other, creates the greatest possible chaos, and then, while playing, ensures at least one or two Sims die as cruelly as possible.
See, I've heard all about I'm an avid Sims player. I never did that, but apparently it's a really real and common thing. Yeah, and I had no idea until a few years ago that this was like a common experience. Here's me trying to just help my Sims live their best lives and be successful. Apparently everybody else was taking swimming pool ladders away and setting them on fire and all sorts. So there you go. I
wasn't too sadistic when I played The Sims, but for those wondering, The Sims is an old computer game where you just see these little people and you have them in their homes. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they're going to work, and you can have them do really stupid things too, like real life.
Yeah.
And I would witness a kitchen fire and I'd just do nothing.
Oh, dear.
And yes, in the game you can build a swimming pool, and if you simply remove the ladder, the little player, the sim, gets confused and can't get out and drowns. in real life, you'd find an alternative way of getting out of the pool.
I would hope so, yeah.
Just crawl out.
Actually, in the newer game, they can just hop out. People are very disappointed because you can't just take them. Anyway, that's a sidebar.
but the idea of the book is similar to The Sims. You really are in a world where you're kind of uninhibited, right?
Yeah, I've never read it. Confession.
Oh, that's okay. It's a commentary on English high society, on imperialism, on how easy it is to descend into barbarism. And I'm sure an English teacher is listening to me say this and saying, "How dare ye?" That's not what it's about. But the book is highly allegorical. It's loaded with symbolism, which English teachers love.
There's been a lot of renewed interest in it lately. That's part of why, even though I haven't read it, it's part of why I suggested it when we decided we were going to do bring back roasting the classics, because I have noticed people, not just that, but other of Golding's works in general. I feel like the classics are having a real revival, at least at Whangarei District Libraries. I don't know about anywhere else, but yeah, just something I've noticed recently being on the desk. So there you go. I will say
I liked the book. I think the one thing that'll turn people against a book is being forced to read it.
Yeah, definitely.
I know why it's done, though. School is school. You're trying to gain information, literacy, and learn about literature and how it can help you gain empathy. Once again, an English teacher's probably listening to me say that and say, "How dare ye?" That's not what it's about.
Yeah, maybe not one to pick up if you're after a cozy read.
Nah, it's a grim book.
Alrighty. So we are almost out of time.
We are almost out of time, yes.
So we were going to talk about the YouTube channel. Obviously, you know that you can listen to The Shelf on our YouTube channel, but also if you missed the Manawahine talks during Puanga Matariki, 3 of those are now available on our YouTube. Whangarei, if you search for Whangarei District Libraries on YouTube, that should bring them up, or you can find it on our website as well. And also, if you weren't aware, many of our heritage talks, not all of them, it's up to the person giving the talk if they want to be filmed, etc. or not, but many of our heritage talks are up online as well on the YouTube. So, one-stop shop, you can now go and listen to back episodes of The Shelf, the Heritage Talks, and the Mana Wahine Talks from 2025 if you missed them. So I'm very excited to listen to that one about the button collection, because I missed that. I wanted to go.
I unexpectedly, I was called over to Forum North to film. Well, actually, I was called over there to help start the event, to move chairs. And then I went over there and I became the cameraman for the event.
I've forgotten about that.
And that's what I did for Mana Wahine. And then I edited them, and now they're on YouTube. And I'm actually quite proud of that project, because it means these videos of these events are now part of the library's collection. So if you see them on YouTube, just give it a watch. We've had an improvement of our sound and video quality recently, so they're very accessible. And leave a comment, press like.
Share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends. Tell your friends. Because this is a pretty big deal for us. And yes, of course, on YouTube, you can listen to every episode of The Shelf.
Yes. Amazing. Anything coming up?
Yes, we've got...
Well, I know there will be.
There's
always something
there's
happening
really
at
always
the library.
something. Always something to talk about. On the 17th, tomorrow, there's preschool fun time, so bring the little ones to Central and Tikipunga Library just to have a little bit of fun. There's, on the 22nd, creative coloring in for grown-ups. There is a dementia-friendly book club, which I believe is a newish event.
Yeah, we've been running it for a few months. So if you're interested in, well, it's in association with Alzheimer's Northland. So if you're interested, the details are on the website. Or you can come in and ask a librarian of where to contact Alzheimer's Northland to register. But they meet on the second and fourth Monday of each month, and it's a shared reading group with people with memory loss or dementia to allow them to continue reading and enjoying books. And this activity promotes well-being and enhances their language skills. So yeah, if you're interested or if you know somebody that would be suitable for, it's free entry and the registration, but registration is required. So you contact Alzheimer's Northland to do that. So they run that, but they use our space. Yeah.
And on the 30th of July, it also happened today. On the 30th, from 9 a.m. to 12, there's a weaving group that meets in Te Puawananga, the Maori room. And I've heard only good things about it, that it's a flax weaving group, and it's a lot of fun. And then, speaking of heritage talks, there will be a heritage talk on July 30th. I'll just open the link and get the where and when. July 30th, 11 a.m. Oh, but where is it? It's at Forum North.
And sweet.
Yeah, and it's called Lone Hander, a whaler's memories. And it's got a pretty fascinating picture on the website, like something out of Moby Dick. So that's it for events. Well, maybe I can pull up another. Oh, yep, that's the events for July. Yeah. And you might be hearing a bit more of LJ and I. We're going to be doing the next episode of The Shelf as well.
Glenn's a little busy.
Yeah, yes. Glenn has received a pretty big promotion.
Yes,
good on him.
Congratulations. Yes,
congratulations,
to Glenn. Big shoes to fill. If you missed the interview with Paula, our retiring library manager, that was on the previous episode of The Shelf, which you can check out on YouTube. Do you have another song up your sleeve, Andy? Ooh. Sorry, put you on the spot. Do I have another song up my sleeve?
Let me think. There's Wheels on the Bus, Green Sleeves.
Whenever I hear Green Sleeves, I just think of the bells. Did you do bells? Maybe that was a New Zealand thing. I'm not
that
sure.
I recall.
No, we did like handbells.
Just pulling up my YouTube feed.
I've got one.
Okay.
I went to the Marlon Williams concert and they did a cover of this Pātea Māori Club song, Ngoi Ngoi.
There it is.
Yeah, it was really good. The concert was amazing. But yeah, they did a cover right at the end. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll play it. And thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you in the library.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.